Hey, what's up, guys? You guys hear me okay? Hopefully we are live. Live with the Node Investor here. Seeing a lot of FUD out there. You know, it's kind of interesting. You notice a lot of big banks, central banks, kind of all coordinating this attack on Bitcoin and cryptos. Let's see, Bank of America comes out, says Bitcoin trade is overcrowded. You guys saw Jamie Dimon today, probably one of the most powerful bankers out there, saying Bitcoin is a fraud. What? What does he mean, fraud? Okay, I get it. You might you may not understand blockchain technology, but hey, come on. Fraud. It may be bullish, it may be bubblish. I don't know about a fraud. Some ICOs are frauds, that's for sure. But anyway, you know, China's going to ban exchanges, and everyone's blaming Satoshi Light. Come on, guys. Don't blame him. He's just saying the news. I mean, not like he was the first guy to say China's going to ban exchanges, so it's all good. So what are we going to do tonight? You know, this is kind of unplanned. I was just sitting here looking at the charts and going, what the heck? Everything's selling off. And that last video I did, man, not popular. And unfortunately, just confirms a lot of what I was saying. You know, you guys was talking about potential sell-off. I was feeling a little toppy, thinking more downside. I gave some levels to watch, and you know, the typical. I was being called fudster. I was spreading fear. On and on and on and on. Hey guys, it's just a correction. It is what it is. We've been through this before. We've seen it happen before, and we're going to see it happen again. That's the nature of cryptocurrencies. We have these big bull runs, and we have these big corrections, and they are what they are. So anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying the videos. I hope you guys are watching. And let's see here. Let's take a look at some of these charts. So you guys seeing Litecoin here. Litecoin's selling off, man. I was looking at this and I'm thinking, I got to do a little bit of a live stream here. So let's look at this chart here. So we were looking at this break today, and then this is kind of rolling over to a new time frame. And I'm a little bit on the go here. So not my normal studio equipment per se. So if the chart looks a little off, bear with me here. But having a big leg down, bouncing off. The thing I'm watching here is these moving averages. Notice how it continues to fail at these moving averages. Now, near term, we're starting to get a little in the oversold category here when you start looking at the RSIs. But when something sells off, it can stay down there for a little while. So not necessarily a buy signal, but potentially a bounce, especially look how far extended we are from the 10 EMA. So it wouldn't surprise me to see some more bouncing in here and backfilling, but the test is going to be how far that bounce gets, right? I mean, are we going to bounce and fail the 10 EMA, or are we going to come down further? So on Litecoin, the levels I'm looking at, and it's basically breaking support here. So let's take a look at some of these levels here. This level here, this $60 level, is a key level. Let me change the color there for you guys. That's going to be a key level to watch. So we're pretty much right at there, starting to break it. The level above that's already been broken. That was this 63, 64 area. But that was, you know, it's very short-lived to pretty much slice through all of that today on the news. And we're just seeing a series of lower highs. Now we're starting to see this last lower high, which was way down here. We're starting to break down. Next level of support, if we have a big leg down, we could see a little bit of a washout that could take us right back to this breakout point here around 55 bucks. That'd be a big move from the top around 90. But from here, I mean, that's only another 10%. That's nothing. And it could come down even further. When you start looking at Litecoin versus BTC, one thing I'm looking at here is, let's let this load here. But I'm looking at the daily chart of Litecoin versus Bitcoin. And you've seen these triple tops here. You had this little double top. We pulled back. Now you're forming here. And on a very large scale, going back to May, it's potentially starting to form a little bit of a head and shoulders. And so, and that's a big pattern, huge head and shoulders if that's the case, right? But if it starts to break down and form this right shoulder, you can see it come down to these levels here before it bottoms out. And I mean, I think that's like 30% down from where we're at now. So if you look at that, yeah, 35% down further versus Bitcoin. And so assuming Bitcoin just flatlines here, which it probably won't, but assuming it just goes straight, you know, this translates to like a $48, $47 Litecoin. So just something to keep in mind. Those are the levels I'm watching. I mean, there's no telling how low it will go. And just like my advice from the last time we had this big correction, the best thing you can do is be patient. I mean, it will bottom out. We'll get some confirmation. There's going to be potentially some bull traps where you're going to see some big rallies, and we're going to say that's the low, and then we'll sell it off. And so you just got to be patient. Those setups will come again. And just like last time, there's going to be new leaders that emerge. There's going to be names that are not on the radar right now, or are very young names, ICOs maybe, that will emerge as strong leaders. Just take, for example, when we had that big sell-off in May and June, right? OmiseGo was nowhere on the radar. You know, Omise, the company, was around, but their Go ICO product, the blockchain technology, was new, and that emerged as a very strong leader here in recent weeks and months. So just look at that. Someone on the comments here is all talking about China and exchanges and Ether. What do I think? I mean, I have no inside information, so this is just pure speculation on my part. Some exchanges probably will close. Will all exchanges in China close? I really doubt it. My guess is they're going to probably just try to consolidate some of that, centralize the exchange a little bit there in the country, certainly regulate it. Will they all close? Will they ban Bitcoin? If they do, you know, it's just going to go to other places, and I think it would just hurt them in the long run if they take that route. So I don't think they're going to just 100% ban it. Other countries have done it. Remember, Russia banned Bitcoin for a while, and everything was going over to some of these other places, and now they're full embracing it. But they're also trying to regulate it. Every country is trying to regulate it, especially when markets get this hot, this much attention. It's just the way it's gonna be, guys. Unfortunately, especially with, you know, you see the big central banks coming against it, and that doesn't make sense. I mean, they control financial markets across everything else. They control commodities, they control stocks, bonds, all that stuff. It's huge business. And if cryptocurrency is a new market that's going to be emerging, they're going to want a piece of that pie too. And that's just the way it is right now. Those are just my thoughts. Let's take a look at Bitcoin, and I'll get to some of the others. I'm definitely not going to do a long chart review like I did the other night, where I basically went an hour. Just going to be quick, talk some of the top leaders here. So this is on Bitfinex. I'll check a couple of the other exchanges out right now, but on Bitfinex, Bitcoin is breaking down, making a new recent low here. You know, we pretty much broke the support levels. So in my last video, the couple of levels that I was talking about here were the 4,000 mark. So we needed to hold that this week, and more specifically 4,100. We have now officially broken that, and it looks like we're going to close below that for the day. And on the upside, I was looking for a bounce, and what I would have felt comfortable was 44.50 being taken out, and that would have kind of invalidated this descending pattern that we were in. Looks like the descending pattern is now breaking down. We're going to see a new low put in, but we're pretty much right here at this 3,900 mark, and we'll see where that goes. Again, on the daily basis, it's starting to RSI starting to reach down. Let's zoom in a little bit here and see what the 4 hours look like. I would imagine that as we get to the shorter time frame, we're going to see some oversold conditions. So, you know, expect a little bit of a bounce here. And, you know, and right now we're pretty much there. We're at 32 level RSI. It could come down further. We've seen it during these extreme sell-offs hit the 20 mark, 25 or so. So you could see a little bit more. We're definitely oversold a little bit near term. So if we bounced here, you know, we could see the 10 EMA become resistance again, or the 30 even, and that'll take us anywhere up 4 to 6% or so on the upside. And so that's what I'm looking for. Again, on the downside, if it shows that if it continues to head down, let's see, the next levels down, I believe we're the 36 area, I believe is where I was talking last time. Yeah, so this extreme spike low we saw around 36 would potentially be a key support level we're going to want to watch. If that gets taken out, again, that's not going to be good. And in my last video, I mentioned we could see it down as low as 34, 3,500 if we see that breakdown. And so we're seeing a breakdown, and like I said, near term, a little extended to the downside. So you can see here on the hourlies, we're starting to hit these lows where it tends to bounce. And so we'll see how strong the bounce is. Ultimately, that's what's going to matter, right? We're going to bounce. Are we going to start to zoom in to these old levels again? That'd be a big move up from here. Or are we going to just start to fail at the moving averages and stair step our way down? And the way these typically work is you have a series of lows, and then there's that big panic low at the end. And so that's typically the washout. So look for that type of signal. So just as an example, during the last one, let me hide the volume here for a little bit. You know, we saw the big break, and these were pretty quick sell-offs. Then we had the big rally, and I mean, even from that bounce here, that's really all it was. That was a 32% bounce in Bitcoin. That's huge. And then we proceeded to sell off again, had another bounce again, lower top, proceeded to sell. And we were pinpointing these key support levels. And sure enough, when it broke, you saw that sharp move to the downside. And, you know, and basically one day we went down 10%, and, you know, we were down 15% at the lows. And that was it. And then we started to bounce and move. And, you know, right around here is where I started to call the bottom potentially. And I started to edge back in and look for positions. And, you know, we saw confirmation here after the fork. And so that's typically the way they go. You'll see these bounces to the downside, then the big up, then down, down, and then the big oh crap moments where just when everybody thought it couldn't get any lower, you see the big drop. And it's usually what freaks everybody out. And those that have been holding out at the very end sell. And that's that capitulation. And unfortunately, that's just human psychology, right? The pain gets unbearable, can't hold it any longer, getting out of the way, and then bam. So typical markets, you know, and that's just the way they go. Now, you just take it day by day. Like I said, patience is going to be the best strategy here, right? You're going to see a lot of bottom callers along the way. There's going to be videos, and there's going to be people tweeting, that's the bottom, that's the bottom, that's the bottom. Eventually, they'll be right, right? But you just got to wait and look for the charts, and we'll see where it happens. So one thing I'm going to be watching for is the news. Typically, you know, I don't trade the news per se. I look at the charts and watch the reaction, and usually I use the news as a what do they call that? For the opposite, right? And what I'm thinking is when the news finally comes out about China and which exchanges are going to be closing or not closing or being regulated or whatever that news is, that's going to be good. Because then it takes a lot of the uncertainty out. Right now, that's the issue, right? There's that uncertainty. Nobody knows what's going to happen. People are starting to sell. They're starting to panic. And there's rumors and there's potential news coming. Some news is starting to drip here and there out. But until it's all official, that uncertainty is what's going to be creating that headwind in the market. So whether the news is good or bad, whether China comes out and says, that's it, we're closing everything, we're done, you know, you'll see that initial reaction, but I think that'll probably be the low point. Maybe, hopefully, could be the catalyst, right? But typically the news is the driver there. You know, it's kind of the old buy the rumor, sell the news, and in this case, sell the rumor, buy the news. And so those are just kind of my thoughts on what I'm thinking here. So right now, Bitcoin bouncing off that 50. Like I said, I expect a little bit of a bounce here. Hopefully we don't see an all-out dump that takes us down to 36, but I'm thinking a little bit of a bounce near term, a little bit oversold. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Actually, before I do that, let me move on to another exchange here and see what Bitcoin's doing on, say, GDAX. BTC. So not too much of a difference, pretty much sitting there just right below $4,000 on Bitcoin. 39.52. Man, oh man. Hey, you're going to have a lot of people telling you that's a great buy opportunity. And it could be. A lot of times it's in hindsight, though. Right now, I am stepping aside. As you guys have know, I've been a little bit cautious. I have been trading some. I mean, you guys saw ARK. ARK was moving up beautifully. We saw Lisk. Lisk was looking like it was breaking out. NEO, I thought NEO was bottoming. We're done. Come on, start taking some more positions here. But NEO is just not there yet. And so I'm just remaining cautious. Just like I said, patience, and have some fodder ready to go for when things just look too good to pass up, or you see those extreme bottoms. I mean, even if it's not the low, I mean, just like we saw back here, there's going to be some fabulous trades. I mean, if you would have bought this trade down here, I mean, from here to here was a 34% move, and the altcoins rallied nicely. So there's still a trading opportunities if that's your thing. And I know not everybody trades. Some of you guys are just kind of holding out longer term. If you're the I'm going to hold till 2020 when Bitcoin's 10,000 person, then this doesn't matter. If anything, this is just a great buying opportunity, right? And I think it will be a good buying opportunity. But I am a little bit of both, and you guys know my style. I prefer to avoid the big moves down, and I like to catch the big waves up. And a portion of my portfolio, I'll be trading here and there along the way. And so core holdings, trading portfolio. But let's see here. Ethereum. Let's see what Ethereum looks on GDAX. So again, Ethereum's still the weaker of the bunch, in my opinion. You know, just still, I mean, look at this. Holy cow. 2 green days since the top. I mean, unfortunately, that's just the case for Ethereum. Looking a little extreme here on the downside right now, but definitely still the weaker of the bunch. You know, when you look at Ethereum versus the dollar, I hate that GDAX never fixed this stupid extreme low. So let me go to another exchange so I can zoom out and look at Ethereum. And you guys have probably noticed the huge double top it's forming right now versus the dollar, right? So you see the big top here and had the big pull up. And, you know, I was thinking we're going to see a nice base. We're going to put a handle in place, and that handle, unfortunately, is turning into a big double top. And so that doesn't bode well right now. Ethereum is pretty much breaking support levels. The next stop is going to be down this 250 level, and then below that, the 225 range. So could see some more downside if Ethereum doesn't decide to hold this level, because you can see these little tails here where it's found support here recently in the 270s, just solid support there. If we don't see a reversal here soon, we could see that break, and that'd be, you know, from this point down, I mean, the 250 is going to put you down 7%, not that big of a deal. The 220 is going to be down 16%. But again, it just depends on where you're at, right? If you bought Ethereum way up at the top or as it was breaking out and you didn't sell on this correction, you know, you're already down 30%. Basically, you could go down another 20, you'd be down 40%. So just, or 10% would be down 40, but just be careful, guys. I know that you're going to see a lot of hodl out there, and just don't play the ostrich. That's just not my style, right? I mean, I'm willing to, you're never going to guess the exact top. You're never going to guess the exact bottom, and that's okay. You want to catch the core part of the move, and that's really it. And so if things turn around, I know it's cliche, the trend is your friend. And right now, the trend is not moving in the right direction. So, so I'm seeing some notes on the comments here. Evelyn saying 3,600. A lot of people are saying 3,600. And yeah, that's the level that I was looking at. 3,600 is, we're talking Bitcoin now, not Ethereum. 3,600 was the level to be keeping an eye on. There was that extreme sell that we saw a couple weeks back, and that would be a good level to watch on the downside. Let's move on. So what else can we cover? NEO. Everybody's talking NEO. Let's look at NEO. NEO BTC first. Not on Bitfinex. It's too neither. NEO BTC. So here's what I was looking at, right? So let's zoom in here a little bit to this recent downtrend. We had the big washout low, which this correlated to like $17 NEO. And I've noted, right, that the chart still looks bearish. You know, we're still heading down. We're still haven't cleared this moving average. Been pointing that out, but I thought that was the low, the washout low. And here in recent days, NEO was actually putting in some good bottoming action. Let me zoom in a little bit prior to this little breakdown we're having now. And what we were seeing is we had the big washout, we had the rally, another higher low, and then we had the big pump on news that it was being added to Bitfinex, then the pullback, again, higher low. And so that's typically the action you want to start to see here. And up until today, basically, we were holding this low, and the moving averages were really starting to converge here right at the price. And so I was gearing up. I was thinking if we start to break above these moving averages, that's going to confirm that that was the low, and we're going to start to march higher here. And so I was on high alert. I was thinking we were going to break out, and unfortunately, the market is not ready to do that yet. So, this was the level that I was looking at here, this series of higher lows, and we're just not doing it yet. Now we're breaking down. So the next level to look at here are these most recent lows, right? So 445 Satoshi on the downside, and then the extreme low, which we're pretty close to now. I mean, if you look at the percent basis, right, that's 5% down and basically 10% down. So we're pretty close there. Let's look at the USDT, and that's just breaking down, and that's partly because of the Bitcoin value, right? Up here, Bitcoin was higher at these levels. Now Bitcoin's 3,900. Same Satoshi level, your dollar translation is going to be a little bit lower. And so we're seeing $18 NEO. Might be a good buy, guys. $18 NEO, wow. So just so we're clear, I'm not buying any NEO here. It's very tempting. It looks like it's a good buy. But just the market's breaking down right now, and it's just going to have to wait and see. I'd rather see some confirmation and pay a little extra and catch the move up once it starts rather than average my way down, as a lot of people will tell you to do. Scared money don't make money. It's not scared. Don't worry. I'm not scared. It's hard to be scared when you're not holding positions. So it's just the way it is right now. It is tempting. And you know what? It's going to make for some good trades, right? So keep in mind, I'm talking in the context of more intermediate to longer term buys. If you're trading this stuff, by all means, this could be a good trade. I mean, we zoom into the hourlies, see what that looks like. We're pretty extended to the downside on the hourlies, that's for sure. RSI is hitting these lows, so from a trading perspective, yeah, I mean, why not, right? Pick some up here, keep a tight stop, take a little bounce, 5, 7, 10%. Not going to complain about that. But should we tether? You catching a falling knife? No, that's not what I'm saying right now. I'm not telling you to catch a falling knife. Should we tether? Everyone has their philosophy on certain exchanges. I have no problem doing that, right? Especially when I'm trading. I mean, if normally when I trade, I'm moving in and out from altcoin to BTC, except for periods like this where BTC looks like it's just breaking down. And then, yes, I have no problem going to Tether. And it just depends on the exchange you're at, right? If you're on GDAX or Bitfinex or one of those, they give you USD or CNY or some of the other things. Not everybody likes Tether. I have no problem because I'm not holding Tether for weeks or months, right? It's very short-lived. It's more for trading. And so that's what I'm doing. All right, let's see here. How do I get BTC to Tether? Again, I'm referring to exchanges. So like if you're on Bittrex, for example, and it's not every coin, but like Bitcoin, Neo, Ethereum, Litecoin, some of the others, they'll let you buy and sell. There's a Tether market. And so you can go straight to that. All right, so let's see what else we got here. What else you guys want to talk about here? Let's look at some other ones here. Let's look at Lisk. I was looking at Lisk today. I was thinking we were going to break out. I've been talking about that one for a while, and it's not happening. So yeah, Lisk was setting up real nice. Chart was looking good. Good volume patterns. This is starting to move higher, and market forces are overcoming right now. But I look at this. We saw this last week. This was the big China's going to ban everything, sell off, and then it popped. Then it just tightened up. So could see another spike low. Let's look at the daily charts. And keep in mind, Lisk has already had a nice run. It was putting a nice ascending triangle pattern here, looking like it was going to have a round 2 of that run. I mean, and it still technically looks good. It's just got to be cautious right now with the markets, right? The general market trend is just not in our favor. But if things bottom out here, this one could be good. So I'm still keeping an eye on this one. I did have a position on this one today, and I closed it out. So in all fairness, I'm not in Lisk right now, but it's probably at the top of my list right now in terms of trades that are looking viable here if things turn around. So keep an eye on that one. Still looking pretty good here, but things are just a little being precautious here, right? So just keep an eye on it. 10 EMA is holding up so far. Let's look at OmiseGo. OmiseGo, what's going on here? OmiseGo. So here's what I don't like about OmiseGo, and you guys know I'm a huge fan. I've been talking about OmiseGo since $2 or whatever it was when it first broke out. Let me show you the volume pattern. Compare that to the RSI. And so what I've been watching on OmiseGo is this series of failed breakout attempts here recently. RSI starting to turn down as it's starting to get higher. And so the strength is weakening a little bit. The trade on OmiseGo is starting to feel a little crowded. Everyone's saying it's going to go, it's going to go, it's going to go. And when enough people start to say that, it just kind of feels like, okay, everyone's waiting for it. So what tends to happen, you might get that little shakeout and then the breakout. So we saw a breakout attempt yesterday. And again, that was news, Blonex being added. And here it is, right? But a lot of sellers showed up right at that breakout. And sure enough, it just started to kind of pull back in. And the level I didn't want it to see get below is that big green bar, and we're right below it now. So just be cautious if you're holding it here at this point. It just depends on where you got in. You know, I mean, the last buy point that I had was really this level down here, and I think that correlated to about $8, $9 OmiseGo. We're still well above that, but just be cautious, and it doesn't hurt to lock in profits. I certainly have already locked in some of these profits here at these levels. And you know, if this resolves itself and it looks like it wants to start moving higher and retake this, and this little downtrend breaks, it could be another entry to try that breakout again. So you see that sometimes where it just failed breakout, pulls back, has a little shakeout, and then pops. Again, OmiseGo long term, I like it. Great project, a lot of potential, and you know, could be one of those where it's wise to just buy on the pullbacks. You know, but near term, looks like a little shakeouts happening potentially, but long term, I like it. Still one of the top of the list. And again, technically, look at the daily chart. Technically, just very few charts look like this. Just one of the strongest. You just can't argue with that. I mean, still looks good. You know, so just depends where you bought it. And most holders here are probably in the green still. I mean, unless you bought it like yesterday on the breakout, most people are probably still doing okay on OmiseGo. So let's see what else we got here. Okay, ARK, seeing a lot of ARK and seeing a lot of Stratis. So we'll cover those here. Kind of cycling through some of these comments. A lot of small names. Probably won't get into those. But you know, and the thing, I don't cover a lot of the small coins. I might trade them, but if they're real small market cap or if they're small volume, it's just hard, right? I mean, especially if, you know, recommending it when the spreads are just too big, right? And the way what I mean by that is if you look at the buy, like the bid ask on some of those, if you look at something like Bitcoin, the bid ask is tiny, right? Small percentage. But if you look at some of these smaller cap names, the bid ask can be pretty big, right? And when I'm trading some of those, you know, I'm not going to go in there and buy like $200 worth of a coin, right? I mean, I want to buy maybe a couple BTC worth, at least for an entry position. And if all the orders are for like 0.1 BTC or 0.02 BTC, you know, I got to clear out like, you know, 40 orders just to load up on 2 BTC worth, right? So that's why I don't talk a lot of those. And then if you want to sell them, it's just hard to make the stops pretty tight on some of those. So it's not that I don't like them or don't trade them, but I just don't do it with really large positions. I prefer the liquidity. So volume is huge, right? If something's trading a couple $1 million a day or more is kind of my minimum. Anything trading under $1 million a day, just probably gonna avoid it. Unless I like the project and I'm buying it for more strategic or long-term reasons and going to buy it and accumulate over time and hold it, then good. But if I'm trading it, I want to be able to get out of a position quickly if I feel I have to, without taking that huge loss just from liquidity issues. So just my thoughts on that. Let's see what else we got here. Stratis. Yeah, still just not happening for Stratis. I know there was some news about them being added to another exchange. Will that pop it? Maybe. Could be a one-day pop. Who knows? I mean, if everybody knows about it, it's already probably starting to be priced in. So, or they're just short-lived pops. But right now, Stratis is just in a downtrend. As simple as that. Kind of flowing, underperforming Bitcoin. You know, it's still holding these lows though. And I mentioned that in, I think, the last live stream we looked at Stratis. So if the market bottoms out here and Stratis doesn't breach some of these levels, which were right there, you know, and if it breaches, it could just kind of put a little tail in and pop back up. Could be a good bottom position, but right now, I wouldn't do anything with Stratis personally. I mean, if you're a long-term believer in the project and you like to accumulate it here, I mean, this is a good low-risk point if you want to buy it. But again, keep your stop at these levels here. And how far down is that? That's probably still, yeah, that's huge. It's still 20%. I don't know. I probably wouldn't touch this one personally. So that's Stratis. Let's look at ARK. You guys get on ARK? Any of you guys get my newsletter or watch the last couple videos where I was talking ARK? I hope you got some. ARK was nice. Let's see here. ARK. Just can't complain about ARK. Had that nice move up right now. I mean, it's just kind of consolidating that move. It's well above that 10 EMA on a daily. So even a normal pullback to that point or right around here would, 10%, maybe a little bit more. And even then, with that kind of a pullback, ARK would be just fine. And it kind of needs a pullback or a little pause here anyway. And you saw some profit taken here. See this big bar, this candle. I'm not going to get into too much of the advanced candlestick reading here, but when you see these at the top of a move, these little dojis, these star formations, that's typically a reversal candle signifies. And you see those at the tops and the lows, especially when they're associated with high volume, right? So we had the big run up, and then you had the big green candle, and then you get that reversal, and then it's now a little bit of a red. So kind of signaling that it wants to pull in a little bit here. Is it going to crash and be the end of the world? Not necessarily, but that's just looks like it wants to pull in a little bit here. So looking good though. I mean, if you guys were paying attention here, this was a nice little setup, nice ascending base, was holding up, and once we started to break out, I mean, we went up 73% or so. Wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Can't complain. 5 days, 70-some percent. I mean, that's assuming you sold at the top, and nobody ever does, unless you're just really lucky. But that's a fabulous move. So can't complain. I got out a little early, and I just tend to, just because I like to sell into strength. That kind of tends to be my style, and unfortunately, I tend to leave a little bit on the table when I do that. But it's usually kind of confirmed. And if it just flags out and then decides to want to break out again, I'll buy back in. I have no problem doing that. So, but not bad, not bad. What else? Trig, yeah, that's a high flyer. I've been seeing that one today. I'm not going to talk that one. What else? IOTA, man, I had a little quick trade on IOTA yesterday, and I thought maybe it's done, and doesn't look like it's done. So again, it was a very quick turn. And so here's the strategy on IOTA yesterday. I was watching this kind of low that it was putting in here, and then we had the little signal. And so I got in a little bit late on this one. I think I bought it around 54, 55 or something like that here. And what I was doing with IOTA, I was thinking, okay, over the next day or so, I'm going to look for a breakout above this resistance, and then my sell signal was kind of in this zone as we approached here. And it just popped there like in an hour, and I was okay, we're there. And so I started watching it real close, and I had to just close it out here, and just took profits on those. And that was a quick trade. And earlier today, I was thinking, man, maybe I got out too early. IOTA is going to pop to the next level, and I was thinking we were going to see 70 cents soon, but didn't happen. Pulling back in, hitting these lows again right now as we speak. So maybe it's going to bounce here, but you know, was a nice trade opportunity. I don't know what was there news that drove that. I didn't even catch what it was. It was purely a technical trade, and I saw the chart breaking up there and just bought in on that. So IOTA, you know, long term, the project, definitely a cool project. I definitely like where they're going with it. I hope it works out. But right now, the charts, you know, it looks like it's trying to bottom here. You know, it looks like it's trying to put in a little bit of a low. But I don't know if it's ready yet. I thought it was going to be ready after this little pop. That was a very nice, huge volume on the pop too. And I mean, if we zoom in on the 4-hour chart, you know, the pullback, although pretty much gave it all up, you know, the volume wasn't too bad. So, but I don't know if it's ready yet. I mean, it's just kind of, when you see these failed breakouts, it's just kind of a red flag for me. You know, they're nice little trades, but we're still not broken this downtrend, right? Just lower highs still being formed. And if we break these lows, you're going to see another low to the downside, maybe retest this extreme low we saw at 36 cents or so. If you see that, man, could be a great buy opportunity for IOTA. All right. Lisk. Lisk is bouncing back. Who is Diamond? Jamie Dimon, as in JP Morgan. All right, let's see here. Hodl. Everyone's saying hodl. Sell, sell, sell. Well, I kind of already sold most. All right. Civic, I'll do a couple more, guys, and then I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Appreciate everyone joining. Yeah, this was like unscheduled, last minute, looking at the charts going, all right, let's get a live stream going. Basic attention. Let's see. You guys want to look at that? Look at that. It's been bottoming out for a while. Let's see what it looks like now. Yeah, it's just still kind of going sideways, right? Versus Bitcoin. So it's just holding par with Bitcoin. If you look at the dollar basis or the fiat currency, you know, it's kind of coming down a little bit. No real opinion on this one right now. I mean, it's just, there's nothing compelling about it. Let me just put it that way, right? There's nothing about this chart that leads me to believe it's a good setup or wants to do something here. It's just kind of all over the place and has pretty much been going sideways for the month of August. But it looks like it's a nice trading opportunity if you can catch these. I mean, some of these moves are huge, 28% move in a day. But other than that, I'm not doing anything with it. For TenX, yeah, let's do TenX. TenX. More, man, TenX still dropping a little bit here. So this is daily chart again. Sorry, I'm all over the place here. I don't have my normal setup. But yeah, still not happening with TenX. Now again, it's right at these lows, right? Like this would just be a great place for TenX to bounce. And because this extreme low we saw down here correlates right where it's at, it's similar to what NEO's doing. And you have this other consolidation here, which price zone correlates with right now. And so that'd be a great place for it to start to bounce. But we'll see. Is it buyable here? I mean, again, if you're a long-term believer in the project and you really like it, I think this is a great project, by the way, then maybe. But there's nothing really here giving you a signal that says it's ready, right? It's not setting up. It's not looking like it is. It looked like it wanted to a couple days ago. It was kind of putting in this low, had some nice volume coming in, was definitely on my radar, but no follow through. So nothing to do on TenX just yet. Thoughts on NAM? You know, NAM's kind of the same way. I was liking NAM, waiting for it to do something here. It hasn't done anything yet. So, you know, here we go. So there's NAM versus BTC, you know, just drifting down, right? Just kind of the same thing here. Hasn't really done anything. It looks like it was going to break out again in August, but has just not seen any follow through. You know, they're releasing some stuff here soon, and their project's doing good. And I know they're making progress there, but, you know, the market's going to do what the market's doing right now. And so let's see here. Civic had a little pump a couple days ago. Let's see what it's doing. Yeah, it's pretty much giving most of that back up now. But right back at that breakout level, so this would be a nice place to hold if we can break this downtrend. Maybe we start to see another leg up. You know, the low was back here, so it's still technically a series of higher lows on the 4-hour chart here, but got to keep a tight leash on these. Volume on the pullback, however, was very nice. So actually looks pretty good from a volume pattern perspective here. Let's look at the daily. You know, can't complain. Not bad. I mean, you know, a lot of sellers showed up here, but that was a huge pump. I mean, look at that move just in one day was 57%, 58%. Of course, people are going to take profits. I mean, that's huge, you know. And so you see that it's pulling in. See if it holds. Not bad. I mean, I like the volume coming down on every day that it's selling off here, but we'll see. All right. Let's see here. A couple more. Quantum. Yeah, you know, I was liking Quantum here. Let's see what Quantum's doing. Udem. Yeah, just, you know, yesterday I thought it's ready to go, but didn't follow through. You know, we had the big green, then we saw more red volume on the downside, but it was a little bit of a support bar. Today we're seeing that again, a little bit of support bar, but it's just not there yet, right? There's no, how do you say, there's no oomph on this move up yet. It's just kind of, it wants to go and it just pulls back, and it wants to go and it pulls back. So definitely keeping an eye on this one though. I'm liking this one, but we'll see. You know, who knows? There's still a series of higher lows here, but I don't know, not ready yet. So Hodl, Neo, or OmiseGo? Well, just looking at the charts, OmiseGo looks better, hands down. Neo, it just depends on where you bought it. I mean, if you, here's my opinion, if you've ridden Neo down, say you bought it at the highs and you've ridden this thing all the way down to where it's at now, I'd just give it a little bit more room personally, because you might just be selling at the lows, in my opinion. You know, I mean, if you've held Neo from from here, or if you were buying it at these highs when everything was going crazy, or if you bought it here before the big breakout, right, and you've ridden it down, I mean, you got to remember the low is right over here. Now on the dollar basis, we're right a little bit lower, right? But we're right there. I mean, so at this point, and this is just my opinion, right? What's another few percent if you've already given up that much? I mean, see if it holds the low at this point, right? You're another down 7-10% from this point. But everybody has their own tolerance of where they bought it, how low they're willing to let it ride. But could be at the lows. You know, I really think it is at the lows. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, by all means, I will. You know, you guys will know, right? I'll come out and say, oh, I guess not. That was lows, but you know, look at these lows right here. That's really it, right? If it starts to break below that, it's gonna have another leg down. But I'm thinking we're right there. We're really close. Not buyable yet, though, right? From that perspective, there's no breakout yet. It looked like it wanted to start trying, and it just kind of giving it all up. Yet the chart, technically, the chart still looks bearish. You know, we're still descending. We're below all the moving averages. It's kind of looking low here, but I don't know. It depends on where you guys got it. That's hard to say if you should hold it or not. Long term, huge fan of Neo. I think Neo's going to do very well. I like it. They've got a lot to go, you know, a lot going on there. Good team. They're more than just ICOs. They're looking at different platforms within the Neo ecosystem. So it's going to be good. But, you know, we're in the market correction right now, and they all get hit. You know, there's very few holdouts typically when the markets correct this hard. And you got to look for those. But the best strategy to do right now is sit tight, try to sit on your hands. There's going to be a lot of news. There's going to be a lot of bottom callers. There's going to be a lot of folks telling you to just buy more on the way down and hodl it. It just depends on your time frame. I'm just going to wait, be patient. The thing to do right now is look for relative strength. And by that, I mean, what's holding up, right? So that's like Lisk and ARK and OmiseGo still. And some of those that are, you know, in this market holding up strong. And those are the ones that when the market starts to turn around, you know, they're gonna be strong and they're gonna hold up well. So let's look at a couple. How's Dash doing? Not too bad, I guess. That's pretty much the same chart we're seeing on Bitcoin versus BTC. Yeah, sitting sideways versus BTC, which is why the dollar chart on Dash kind of looks like Bitcoin. Let's see, Monero. I thought Monero was doing pretty good here. Yeah, similar, you know, holding up okay. A lot of volume coming in here at these lows, though. That's pretty good. And it's a little bit oversold on the short term. Let's look at the daily chart here. On the daily chart again, we all know Monero had that that big move. Let's look at Monero on Polo. Get a little bit more history. But oops, sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, I mean, look at this volume pattern, right? So you're seeing these big green bars on the breakouts. Right now, we're right at these moving averages. You know, still again trending down. So just be cautious here, not necessarily buy yet, but you know, so far, if this pattern holds up, it's looking good, right? Definitely needs to consolidate. It pretty much had a triple in a number of week and a half or so. So it's definitely digesting that still. But that'd be one I'm looking at, right? It could start to form a new base here as the market corrects. And so those are the type of things you want to look out for. All right, guys, let's see here. I'm going to be closing this out here soon, just kind of looking through these comments. Appreciate you guys joining me today. How many people do we have? About 665. I think we peaked out at 7 or so. Awesome. Love to have you guys here. Appreciate all the support. Do I have a trading group? I will be announcing that in the next week. Just doing some testing on the back end here, make sure it works out. So more information on. I know you guys have been asking me about that. Apologize for the delay. I just want to make sure it gets launched correctly. Chain Coin Gang is here. No comments. Chain Coin Gang. AdEx. 8X. I don't think 8X is doing anything. Let me see here. I think 8X was still sitting tight. Yeah, not a whole lot to do on 8X right now. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for tonight. And appreciate you guys joining with me. If you're, I know some of you guys said it's 5 a.m. over there, your time. You know what? Bless you, man. Waking up early to listen to the Node Investor. And for those of you that hung with me late, have a good evening, everyone. Take care.